The Magic Podcast. Hosted by Lloyd Barnes and Craig Petty. Your all-access, behind-the-scenes insight into the current happenings of the magic industry. Where Craig and Lloyd will thrust themselves deep inside your ears every Wednesday to rant, dissect, and give you their raw and unfiltered views on the art of magic. So, lock your door, take out your deck, and brace yourself for the Magic Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the motherfucking Magic Podcast with your host, the incredible, always sexy, always wonderful
Lloyd.
Everywhere. Alan, I'm giving you your chops. You look like an 80s porn star. You know, you're looking good, man. You're looking really good.
Dude, the drapes match the pubes too, so curtains down there. Oh no, that sounds wrong. How the devil are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm prepping to go to California. I'm heading over to Sacramento on Tuesday, so that'll be fun. I'm gonna be
Working with Murphy's on 9,000 projects.
Working with Murphy's. I've never actually gone to Murphy's to film before because normally I film with you in the UK, but that fucking ship has sailed. So I'm heading, thanks to you, I'm heading over to fucking California. Wonderful. I could be in the UK. I could be doing this in smoke and mirrors, but no, I have to go to fucking California. But I'm looking forward to it. I normally, when I go over to the States, I'm in Columbus. So I'm going a little bit further this time.
Where is it? Rancho Cordova.
Rancho Cordova, yeah. I mean, they better realize that when I'm there, I'm raiding their warehouse.
It's a mission to get to that side of the world, like to that specific area.
Yeah, it is. It's out the way. Like you think, oh, California, it's near LA. No, it's nowhere near LA. I was speaking to my friend David Murphy. It's like 7 or 8 hours away from like.
Yeah, it's an absolute bastard of a trek. And I remember once I flew from Heathrow, and I don't sleep on flights. I just cannot for the life of me. So it was 3 hours. Oh, sorry, it was 4 hours because of morning traffic from where I live to Heathrow. Met Madison at the airport. Then it was an 11-hour flight, but we had a connection in Amsterdam. No, we did. It was in Germany. Began with a D, not Dusseldorf. Or maybe it was, I don't know, but it was Germany. So connected there. And in total, the flight was 14 hours with the connection. And then we had a fucking 8-hour drive from LAX. Well, I went a little bit further, like 2 hours past where you're going, but it was 8 hours in total up to Auburn in California, and it was so slow because of the forest fire, the grass fires they were having. Man, that day nearly just, and then by the time we like settled in and everything, it was ready like for work the next morning, so I didn't get any.
I'm gonna be dead. I'm gonna be dead, although I am. And normally when I go over to places that are really hot, like when I go to Magic Live, I don't fucking leave the casino. I don't want to be hit with a curtain of heat when I walk out that front door.
Oh God, I can imagine the state of your body, the chafing and the smell from all the wounds would be disgusting. It would be like deep frying roadkill and then just placing it over your nose and mouth like a gas mask. Like all the little like sweat patches. Oh God, you are one vile. It's like a chubby fried egg.
Not wrong. But
I'm just fucking with you, Bruce.
no, but I know that I'm not going to be able to do that because they want me to do live performances of all of this, obviously. So I'm going to be, walking around sweating my tits off, like getting live performances. So I can't. I haven't even got the luxury of staying inside somewhere with aircon. So fucking hell.
Hey, it's gonna be fun though.
Oh yeah, I'm going to get to meet.
Oh my God, Javier. All the boys there are absolute legends. You're going to have an absolute blast filming. And not that anyone doesn't, but they'll really like roll out the red carpet for you.
Well,
like Penguin does as well. Like they're going to really take care of you. You're going to have a blast. I'm really jealous. That you're going.
I said to George, just get a camera, point it at me, and just lead me to it, and I'll be fine. That's all we need. We need a room with a camera.
Yeah, you are like, was it like Theo Vaughn says, you're like a deaf Jack Russell. No, but like once you're gone, like you can't get you back.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
You're back. You can't. Like once they start rolling, like that's the beauty of working with you on any project, is that you are the most self-driven, initiative, forward-thinking artist that I've ever ever, and there's no comparison. Like they really like there is Craig Petty in terms of drive and output on a shoot. There is if I had to pick a top 10, it's Craig Petty top 10, and there's nobody else that compares. I'm trying to. There's two other people that I think are fantastic to shoot with. One of them was Harry Harrington, Lord Harry.
Harry is a great guy.
We had to pull him back from getting extra performances, and then Kieran Johnson, because just an absolute animal for live performances as well. But you would not that they wouldn't, but I never had the opportunity for them to want to go for like 24 hours straight. But I really think if I said to you, if me and you were like, shit, we've got to get out of here. We got 24 hours and this project has 25 hours worth of footage you need to film in. I think you're the only person that I could put money on to say like that footage will be filmed.
Oh, cheers, man. And you know what? The stuff that's being filmed is good. People are going to be seeing it over the next few months. There's some good shit coming out.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like it's the culmination of like years, and really is the years of work of projects that we've been doing together, working on behind the scenes. So I can't wait to see how it comes out. Do me proud.
I will do, man. I'll be representing you in California while you're fucking a sheep.
Oh, I hope your plane crashes. So, you know. Do you know what? I've gotten myself into the trap of watching more aircraft investigation things on my.
You do that to yourself, man.
No, I started watching one last night. It was a bride and groom, a honeymoon couple. Yeah, bride and groom crashed in the mountain ranges. His name, what was his name? He was an American pilot with like 54,000 hours flight time. He was only young, and he took it, but he'd always been flying around Florida where there was less air density. Stuart Etheridge watching this will know what I'm talking about. But but so he went up to the mountains in Northern America somewhere, and he wasn't used to how there wasn't as much, the air pressure was heavier or something, and he tried to turn around and he fucking crashed. And I was like, yep, this confirms all my beliefs. Like even if you're really good, you know what you're doing, you'll still end up in the mountains. Like,
yeah, but come on, there's more chance of you like getting run over by a bus than there is dying in an airplane.
So they say, but I'm not likely to fly and die in the sea in a bursting ball of flames on a bus going through the little village lane as I am if I'm on a 737.
Jesus, we're doing a convention together in South America at some point in the future soon. What are you fucking going to do about that? I'm going to have to treat you like B8 fucking Brackus from the A-Team. I'm going to have to give you a burger just before we get on the flight, like fucking some sort of tranquilizer, and like just fucking put you in. Yeah, just leave him there. Don't worry. He's dreaming of sheep. And then you wake up and you're at the fucking magic. And whoa, what happened? Don't worry about it. It's all good. You're here now. It's fine.
Do you have I've got a flight to the Czech Republic in May, I think.
I know you're all over the place, man.
Yeah, so are you. Hey, I seen are you lecturing in New Zealand?
Yeah, I'm bouncing around like a bead of sweat in an aerobic teacher's buttock cleavage. Just everywhere. I'm everywhere. New Zealand, South America, Germany, France. I got a few on.
I got the ones that I've said yes to: Czech Republic, America, what's that? Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few pending that I'm like half and half, but really like already, that means 3 flights this year, 3 more close shaves, near misses with death if they go right.
I think you need to get your ass down to Stuart's place and just fly a plane for a bit.
Nah, I love Stuart. I think he's one of the best people on planet Earth, but I am not getting on a flight. Not more new. I just don't want to risk it.
That's funny. That's funny. You know what's funny about it? For people that are listening to this, how much flying you've done in your career. Like when you were working with Illusionist, how much flying you actually did, how much you bounced around all over the globe. Like literally you were taking a different flight every single day and you were perfectly fine. And now you're like, oh my God, do you know, it's kind of weird.
Well, Kelly Jones from the Stereophonics says it best. The more you fly, the more you risk your life. And I'm very risk averse these days, you know?
You're very chilled. You got your house, you got your office, you got your swimming pool. You're fucking chilled as fuck, man.
Yeah. Why do I want to risk my life?
It's not risking your life. It's
Anyway, let's talk about some magic stuff. People don't give a fuck about my phobias anymore.
no, but what I want to know is what you've been up to this week. You had a good week?
Working on. I'm trying to think anything majorly important. In the background, I've been working on a giant project, which has sort of been emanating for the past. It's been emanating since before I bought this house. It's been like an overall bigger thing that I've wanted to do. People have people have been directly asking for something like this from me, and it's kind of getting close to completion now. So I've been putting some of the final pieces of the puzzle in place, and yeah, just getting ready to launch something not necessarily groundbreaking, but pretty huge for me. I think my subscribers and my followers and all that are gonna love it. And yeah, but it's just a big project that I've been slowly like chipping away at mentally, and then like quite logistically over the last few months now. Well, yeah, for a long time. So I've been chipping away at that really fucking late nights. I was up till 11:30 in the night, working on it. So I'm only in bed by 9.
That's late for you. That's late for you.
Yeah, but that's me. I can't really say too much without exposing anything. But you'll all see. It's not gonna really rattle the earth, but it's just gonna be something good for people that like me and my stuff and everything. What about you? What have you been doing?
Prepping for California, doing gigs, fighting Yiga Masika.
Brilliant. Just another day in the fucking life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just discovering how expensive lawyers can be.
Yeah. Fuck.
I could buy a house at this point if I...
Jesus Christ. But it will be worth it. You do this for the community, so fuck it.
Yep. Yeah.
On that note, on the community, what are the big topics of the week? What are the big products that are coming out this week? What's the thing that everyone's...
Well, the thing that everyone is talking about right now is that David Copperfield has announced that after a 3-month, God knows how long he's been there, quite a while, but I think in 3 months' time, I think May, him and the MGM Grand are parting ways. They are going their own separate ways. They are... he's not going to be at the MGM Grand anymore. The place that he's been at for literally, for the last so many years, he's no longer there. I'm actually just trying to punch up David Copperfield so I can read the statement for you. Let's have a look. Here we go. I'll read it to you just in case people don't know. My journey began as a kid in New Jersey with a dream of one day making magic my life. I saw magic then and I see magic now as more than just my work. Magic teaches us that often the things that dismiss as impossible are only possible but within our grasp. For 25 years now, I've been fortunate enough to headline at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. My last performance at the MGM will be on the 30th of April. I'm excited to announce what's next soon thereafter. It's the largest project I've ever tackled and the most challenging too. In the meantime, I want to reflect on this moment and this milestone and thank the incredible team at the MGM and my crew that literally makes the magic happen nightly, sharing wonder with over 7 million people in almost every single country on earth. I'll be performing 120 shows over the next 8 weeks at the MGM Grand. Join us if you can, as most importantly, know that whatever you dream about, you can achieve. This kid from New Jersey certainly did, and I believe in magic now more than ever. That's the first thing he's posted since the 29th of February 2024, when he announced that he's going to be making the moon disappear. So.
Strange. I made a video on that moon vanishing thing, talking about my theories, which were my theories on what I would do if I was going to make the moon vanish. Of course, not being the methods they're going to use, just what I would. How, something interesting. I thought it was a great creative exercise to think, wow, what a great concept to make moon vanish. Here's some of the ways that I would do it if I was consulting on it. Obviously, he's got the best consultants in the world, so I wouldn't, there was no crossover. And they reached out to me and said they loved the video and they were a fan.
Oh, that's great.
Chris Kennedy. Oh,
that's great. Chris Kennedy, the man, the myth, the legend.
Man, the myth, the legend. But,
what's your thoughts on this? a lot of people, we need to address the controversy.
Yeah.
A lot of the community are divided right now. There's a lot of conversation going on. So,
I've never seen this show live, which I'm gutted about.
yeah, well, there's a lot of magicians that have said, I've bought tickets for the final show. I'm going to watch the final show at MGM Grand. I know that
When is the final show?
30th of April.
Oh, not long then.
Not long. Some magicians are talking about how, it's such a shame. Copperfield has done so much for the community. He's put magic on the map, blah, 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 blah. But then there's obviously the other flip side, which is when you Google David Copperfield now, like I just put into Facebook David Copperfield to read his statements, and the first several hits that came up were links through to Epstein files and pictures of him cuddling in a dressing gown with Ghislaine Maxwell and all of the stuff that people are talking about with regards to David Copperfield. A lot of people are saying, well, this is not this is now coming out because of Epstein, but there's been allegations against this man for years. And, MGM are, this is obviously a move by MGM because they don't want to be associated with him anymore. So there's two schools of thought. Where are you on this?
Well, the first thing I'll say, and I'm only saying this, right, because I've never seen the show, so this is complete second-hand, third-hand information in terms of the show for a start. Everyone that I've spoken to, bar none, in the past few years, have said that Copperfield always seems like these days he's phoning it in, and that he's past it.
I went to watch his show a few years ago when I was at Magic Live. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, and I hadn't seen him for many, many years before then. And I felt that like it was just going through the motions.
Everyone says that, and you can't blame the guy. He's doing 2 shows a day. What is it? 600 shows a year. Yeah, you go into I can't imagine he's really doing it for the money because he's a billionaire. I imagine he's doing it because that's all he knows. That's what he wants to do. And to give people the chance to see him live. On the flip side of that, there is the problem that, I can't think of a single person that I've met in recent memory that have said anything other than it just seems like he's on autopilot and he's not giving it his all. So there is that element to it, which probably just means it's either time to do something completely fresh or do something completely new. Going on to the controversies, which are more worrying, the things that, should be addressed. There's no point you can't put the feathers back in the pillowcase. He's innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
But there is a black mark on his profile that he has been accused. Like, I'm reading up online, so there have been 16 women who've made sexual misconduct allegations against David Copperfield. But it's important to say that David Copperfield denies all of the allegations and no charges have ever been filed. So, it's one of those things. He's never been charged. He says he hasn't done it. They say he has done it. And the man is innocent. The man is innocent until proven guilty. But it's got to be. This is all part of what we're talking about. Is where do the chips sort of lay when the dust settles?
There might also be the element of MGM just can't afford Copperfield anymore. Don't forget, like, for the last few years, people have been talking about how Vegas is in a bit of trouble and the amount of people that are going to Vegas has gone downhill a little bit, and tourism is struggling in that kind of area in a town or a city that's basically built around tourism. And then you've got the fact that because of all, I'm not going to make this political at all, but because of tariffs and God knows what and this and that and the other and what's happening in the world at the moment with Iran, less people are choosing to go on holiday to America. Less people are choosing to go on holiday to Vegas. And I would imagine if someone's been in the same venue for 25 years, he's going to command a certain amount of money, or he's going to, do you know what I mean? Or it might be that tickets, I don't know.
It also might just be that on the other side of that, they may not want to be associated. No matter, it's one of those things, right? What do they say? And I'm not saying either way, but there's a phrase which is like, a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has got its pants on. Which means that even if Copperfield is completely innocent, the fact that he's got association and photos with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, MGM just may be like, you know what? You may have done absolutely nothing wrong, and you may genuinely have had no idea about what was going on there, because I'm assuming they're not like, you must have walked down the street or spent time with someone and had no idea that they've done some crazy dark shit in their life, right? Or every single, I think there's literally nobody listening to this podcast that can say they know for certainty that they've never interacted with someone that's done some dark shit. Now, the fact that he was spending time there is a different, it makes it much more harder to believe. But on the surface of it, right now, man's innocent until proven guilty. But MGM Graham might just be like, look, the optics in this are fucking terrible.
Well, big companies do that all the time. Look at Johnny Depp. Disney dropped Johnny Depp like a bad habit when everybody was, taking Amanda Heard's side in that whole thing that was going on between Johnny and Amanda, Johnny Depp and Amanda Heard. And after the court case, and they were very publicly like, we don't want to have anything to do with Johnny Depp anymore. We're not going to have anything, because they needed to Disney needed to distance themselves from the allegations that were being made towards Johnny Depp. As Disney and their target audience of families, they don't want to be associated with what Johnny Depp was being accused of doing. After the hearing, and it was found that he was innocent, or whatever the outcome was, now he's been announced in a new Pirates of the Caribbean film with Disney. But at the time...
Well, he said, I wouldn't work with Disney unless they paid me $301 or something.
And now they're rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean, and he's coming in to pass the torch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he was found guilty in the UK, and innocent in America. She was the guilty party. But that's the thing. It's so difficult to talk about this stuff because we don't really know what ever happened behind any of those closed doors. All we can talk about is what we see as the optics, right? And I suppose that's essentially what could be thought by these big casinos that are the big casino MGM. It could be like, look, regardless of what the truth is, because none of us know, and no real hard evidence is, he hasn't been taken to trial, so no one really knows yet. All we can do is discuss the optics, and I suppose that's all that really matters at the minute. It's the court of public opinion. Because if you see any post about Copperfield anywhere, the first comment is something related to Epstein.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the end of it. Like,
yeah. And look at this, the Magic Podcast. The first thing they're doing is talking about Copperfield, and we have no choice but to bring up Epstein.
Yeah,
it's
Ted Parmilovich. The first thing people think of now, unless they don't know, but the first thing that anyone who's aware of it knows is that he was a nonce.
Yep. And
he fucked kids.
Yep. Officially.
And he did 5 years in prison for it.
Yep.
And there was that one guy trying to defend it. It's like 200 years ago, she would have been ready for bearing children. Like, bro, we're a nonce too. It's how you fuck kids or really want to. Fucking hold it back. Here's his favorite song.
So what would you do if you were... I don't believe he's got... he announced in his statements, I've got something big coming. It's the next biggest... If I was Copperfield, I'd be done, man. I'd be like, look, I don't want to fight anymore. How old is he? Like 60 odd? Like, come on, dude. You've got your billionaire. Just go on your island and just relax and take a well-deserved break. You don't need
But if I was him, I think he really loves magic. And if I don't think he performs for money. I don't think that's his reason. I think it's got to be because he loves it and he loves performing, even if he's gotten stale, by doing the same thing over and over, which I think would happen to any one of us doing that amount of shows. This to me would be the best thing that can ever happen, right? You've been there, done it. You've got all those years of experience. A completely fresh, brand new show would give him, take years off him.
Yeah, maybe do what Dynamo did.
If he is genuinely innocent, like if you were like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like if you'd been accused of something like this, and I genuinely were innocent, would you go and hide away, Or would you be like, no, I'm going to carry on living my life and doing what I love because that's all bullshit, you know? I would. I think that's what I would do if I'd been accused of something heinous like that, and it was obviously untrue. I would yeah, I think I wouldn't hide away. But no, I'm going to carry on because yeah, it's a tricky one. But I think the best thing you can do is carry on.
Do you think the MGM will do? Do you think they'll get another magician in? Because how the deal works is you have to rent the place, don't you, and then pay rent. So it needs to be somebody that's got some serious backing. But I mean, do you think we're going to see the rise? Because I think that Vegas. I don't know, man. But all I know is I think Penn and Teller are on the way to retirement as well. I mean, they've got to be. Like, Penn looks like Teller looks like he's on death's door most of the time. Like, without being funny, he doesn't look well. Penn is what, hasn't he just had another accident? Like, they've had to cancel a bunch of shows. Like, they need to. Like, they're not going to be around for much longer. Bless their souls. I love Penn and Teller. They were my wedding entertainment in my evening when me and Sarah got married in Vegas. They were who we went to. I love Penn and Teller, but I think they're on the way out. I think they're going to be retiring.
Yeah, legends can last forever, man.
Are we looking at
who would replace?
Hmm?
Who would replace it?
I don't know. Who's got the? I
mean, you have to think about it from the point of view of how big was Copperfield at the time that he signed the contract? Or because I can't remember. I was too young probably, but was he
doing all the TV specials at that point?
He was the biggest magician in the world anyway.
Yeah.
Who is the biggest magician in the world now? It's probably a social media person.
Justin, what's his face? Justin, what's his name? No.
I was saying he's just
does Magic for Humans. Is it Justin?
Justin Willman. Yeah, he does like stand-up comedies, parlor magic type stuff. I don't think he does a big illusion show like Copperfield. Like it would be. I mean, Shin Lim is pretty big, but he's already settled, and it's from what I understand is a card. This is what we talked about last man. Is that like it seems like the big illusion stuff is dying out. I mean, who does a really great show is Blaine, because he does close-up magic and he could do it in a fucking arena. You know who would be an amazing sign-in for them would be Steve Frayne. Dynamo.
He's got worldwide popularity.
Worldwide popularity. Not as big in America as he is over here, but his arena show was big illusions, really inventive, really fucking good. He could hold the audience in the palm of his hand. He was a phenomenon. Is a phenomenon. You know, when people see him, they scream like when they run down the street, you know? He's someone that could. I think there's not many people that have the pull like him. That would be a phenomenal fit.
Or maybe we'll see another ensemble show, but permanently located in America, in Vegas. Maybe one of these touring things like The Illusion.
I think we need a singular star. A singular star, like the bigger shows in Vegas. What is it? Adele. Fucking Barry Manilow there, or Celine Dion. She was a big show over there. People would come from all over the world to go and see her. And Copperfield. Like, you need someone that's got global pull where people will go, I'm going there just for that. Because that's what most people did for Vegas with magicians, at least. Who's the one magician that everyone would be like, I think that's the other thing. Is like Copperfield transcended lay people and magicians. So whoever the magician would be, it would have to be someone who did both, who transcended both. It's not. I don't know if that person exists at the minute.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. No. I can't think of anyone.
You know, that would be a great Netflix show. You know, with Simon Cowell searching for Copperfield or searching for the next David Copper. Who's going to be the next superstar, and then just launch a fresh career. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Somebody's going to, you know, I mean, obviously what goes down goes up again. What goes up goes down. You know, Vegas is in a bit of a lull at the moment, but it'll bounce back. It always does.
Oh, yeah. It's like stocks, man.
Yeah.
It'll trend upwards eventually. Yeah. Because there's something that Vegas offers that you can't get anywhere else, which is that live feeling, right? The live shows, the live...
I don't know. You get that similar feeling in Blackpool. The Vegas of England.
Who was it that won the one competition this year?
I can't remember.
Well, they ain't gonna be headlining Vegas then.
I can't remember. I
Trying to
really.
think the last time there was an illusionist that everyone was like, "Fucking hell, wow!" And they're gonna be one enough for big Vegas to put that like, because it's about like 20. You know, they're looking for someone they're gonna be able to put like 20 years worth of backing behind.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone. I've not thought about it up until this point. I can't think of anybody that's positioned as big as Copperfield to go and be able to do that. The names that keep coming up are names that are already over there, like Shin Lim and people like that. And I just can't, James Franco and so on and so forth. Or I can't.
I think the thing is, Copperfield came at a time when he sort of really invented the big TV shows that everyone around the world would watch and get behind, and then so like he was a household superstar phenomenon name. You don't really get that these days. The last time I can think of something global where everyone tuned in is Blaine. He's really the only one doing those global fucking shows. And it was like last time it was streamed through YouTube, and I'm assuming he'd have like a Netflix stream, or maybe he did one, I don't know. But the last time there was a big global thing like that, and that's the type of star you need where
Everybody wants to go and see that guy, yeah.
yeah.
Blaine does transcend magicians and lay people as well.
Yeah, but he already has his residency. Yeah, and I can't imagine he would be locked in to 20 years of doing it,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Here's an interesting question, though, on the back of a changing of the guard, so to speak. Chris Ramsey put up a YouTube video saying, "Is cardistry dead?" And it was an hour-long documentary talking about the history of cardistry and then the future of cardistry. And
Fine cardistry. Are we talking about flourishing and
flourishing and card stunts that a lot of cardists back in the day did essentially only card flourishing, so they didn't do magic was like a no-go. They would dabble, obviously, like we all dabble in a little bit of flourishing, like a pirouette or whatever, but like the whole cardistry movement, which was a thing at the time for years, really took off because of Dan and Dave. They created. There was Chris Kenner who published the Sybil, and this is a good segue. Chris Kenner published the Sybil cut, and from the Sybil cut, then of people doing card flourishing as a full-time thing. Remember, there was like the Devo guy who would do like extreme card manipulation, and who was the other guy who was like
hand lords or something like that.
And there was hand lords, which I'm sure is a little shop tucked out the way out, a little massage parlor in Blackpool. But there was the other guy. What was his name? And he was like he's almost like the who's that guy who does all the gambling stuff, and he got loads of social media things. But he was like a slick guy, he talked a lot. And anyway, but then Dan and Dave really captured the attention and then created an entire community of cardists because they took it to the extremes and they did it better than anyone else on the earth. And that was a whole boom in like the early 2000s or mid 2000s, early 2000s, 2000, I don't know, 10 onwards. And now, I don't remember, like you couldn't go into any corner of the internet really without sort of having to like get through to, a video that, oh, is this a cardistry thing or is this a magic thing? And nowadays they are very, very, very few and far between, and there's no real online community. I think a lot of communities in general have died out because of social media, because it used to be forum based. All the magics were very heavily it was only forums. They are dying out big time now, and then there aren't those like strong core communities, and cardistry really existed within those communities. So obviously cardistry is still here, and there's some fantastic cardists out there, but the question posed was, is cardistry dead?
I think a lot of communities online are disappearing, like the all of the forum in Magic. You see, like, how big were the Theory 11 forums? How big was the Magic Cafe? The Magic Bunny taught magic. All of these forums have gone, and they've been replaced in part with Facebook forums, but not as much. And you've got Discord. I don't really do Discord, so I don't really know too much about that. But I mean,
doesn't Netrix have a Discord?
It does, but we never use it. I put it up there by accident. We have an internal community to that.
I think you post more in my Discord than your own.
I do. I like your Discord. I like the people there. I'm not the right person to speak about this because I don't really do cardistry at all. You know, the closest I get to cardistry is a one-handed shuffle and a butterfly cut, and that's it. However, what I will tell you is because I'm into magic, a lot of the time on my Instagram feed and my reels on Facebook, I'll see lots of cardistry people popping up doing all the fancy stuff that you're doing right now, and I appreciate the skill of it. So from the outside looking in, because I very much am from the outside on this, it seems like it's all alive and well, but that can be, you know, that could just be my opinion.
Are you just seeing the same few people, or is that? I think it's definitely not. I don't personally, and I don't want to get shat on for this. I really don't like cardistry. I didn't like the cardistry movement. I can appreciate it because it was people who were becoming exceptional, extraordinary with a deck of cards. And I practice little symbol cuts every now and then, literally to warm my hands up. But the moment it comes to performing time, I act like I've got broken fingers. I give the deck out. I don't show any skill. I try and hide it all, you know. And I really it was a very clicky, very on the whole. Obviously, some absolute fucking legends and lush people in the community, but there was a whole overarching clickiness. And I guess because they really wanted to stand away from magic, so anyone, you know, I don't know. There was not an elitist vibe, but a very like, and I don't want to say boys club because that's more like the older archaic style of magic clubs, but there was a very, what's the word, like the kids who are too cool for school vibe to it, you know. And a lot of them we were all the same age coming up and stuff, and a lot of them were just, yeah, I don't know. It was just. Maybe I'm just talking about, I'm just feeling this way because I just knew there was quite a high number of arseholes within that community alongside the lush people.
There were in magic as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the same thing, but yeah.
In every community, to be honest.
But is cardistry dead as a movement? I don't know if it's dead. I think it's like a bit like skating in the 70s, like skateboarding and blading or whatever was huge, and then it went quiet, dormant, and then it came back with like all the Tony Hawk's games. I think it's a very similar scenario where I don't think it's ever going to die because there's too much talent and too many amazing things that will, you know, there's certain bits of cardistry I see and I think that's fucking dope. That's super cool. And it could be used in a magical context. So I don't think it's dead. I just think maybe there's no spark there anymore.
Yep.
Or it's just not as excited anymore. It's kind of like, it'll take someone... I think it'll take some like one or two cardists that will come on the scene and just do shit that like is completely revolutionary again, and that'll reignite the passion and get new people in. But possibly and maybe that like they've pushed it as hard as they fucking can for so many years that it's just in a lull and it's not as exciting anymore. Maybe,
yep.
And it will be again. But right now, it's kind of like they need some new pioneers. Possibly, I don't know.
Potentially. I know that a lot of it, what I'm seeing from a lot of people that are getting into magic, cardistry used to get really, a lot of people that got into magic, especially younger people that got into magic would very quickly find cardistry. You know, they'd learn about magic and then they'd find Sybil Cuts and Dan and Dave and they'd kind of go down that route as well. I'm not seeing that these days. I think a lot of I talked about this with somebody the other day. I think a lot of new people that are coming into magic these days. Actually, this is a really interesting thing. I don't know if you're noticing this. In the old days, we're talking like, you know, I say the old days, you know, like 2000s, when the cardistry movement was really big, there was a real emphasis on new people coming in and becoming exceptional with sleight of hand and exceptional with technical ability. Not just people that were going into cardistry, but some going into magic in general. You know, the amount of people that, you remember at the Ross game, you're like, let me show you my invisible pass. Oh my God, I can do this move better than anybody. These days, what I'm seeing, and I saw this at Blackpool as well this year, especially speaking to people at the Ruskin, I didn't get approached by anybody to see this incredible knuckle-busting routine. What I was seeing more of is people creating crazy gimmicks and doing stuff that was more creative and less technical. And I think a lot of the emphasis of people that's coming into magic these days isn't so much about learning the extreme skill, but it's more about, exploring the crazy now maybe that's because there's more tricks available than ever before, more gimmicks are coming out than ever before. But I have noticed that, you look at somebody like Matt Cluley, who used to work with me. He came into Magic 2 or 3 years ago. He's got no interest in technical skill. He's more interested in, you know this method to achieve this effect and this method to achieve this effect. And
yeah. Well, I think that's the right attitude to have. I think actually that is the right way to do it, because you can spend all the time in the world working on becoming the best technician. I think I've fallen into this trap. I spent so many years being. My grandfather really drummed it into me, the Max Malini viewpoint, which was practice, 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 and then just wait till it's right and ready to perform. And I got into my head, and I still to this day have it in my head so fucking much about like being like technically proficient and perfect to the point where I can do it without thinking, that it's prevented me from performing. Whereas I think I would have, it's like 80-20, but in the wrong direction sometimes for me, like the Pareto principle. And I think like, and I was talking to, Fred, the underperforming hobbyist. I was talking to Fred in the podcast. And one of the things we were talking about there is that like 90%, yeah, you could be good, like technically proficient, but 90% of of good magic is done with human interaction and how you are socially.
Yep.
That's it, right? You can have the best top change, classic palm, classic pass, whatever in the world, and just be totally inept in a social situation, and that basically makes your skill set null and void.
I told this story once on my channel. I went to a multi-man gig. I'm not going to say who, but I went to a multi-man magician gig. There were 7 of us, and it was in London. And I was there with some pretty big hitters. And there was one guy who's considered to be one of the top technical magicians in the world. And I was watching while I was coming away from the table. I was near him quite a lot. He was really kind of trying to psych himself up to go to tables. He was like, really, you could see, like, everyone else was just like going up there and just like boom and winning them over with personality. And this guy was like, and you could tell he was like really nervous and kind of not in his depth. And when he was performing at the table, he was very quiet and doing all these technical moves, and nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit. He was dying on his ass. And but magicians, if you had him on a lineup at a convention, you'd be like, oh, I need to go and see that.
Put the initials in the chat window.
No. I don't know who you're referring to. I'll tell you who it is.
Oh yeah, I could imagine that.
Yeah, and he was he died on his ass. But if you saw him at a convention and he was on the lineup, you'd be like, oh, I need to go and see him. And in that environment, he would absolutely kill, because you go there to watch that technical skill and go there and watch, oh my God, that is absolutely amazing. But here's the thing, lay people don't give a shit about that. I up until about 3 years ago, my get ready for my double lift was just, and the only reason I changed it is because people, and now I do a strike double, but the only reason I changed that is because people on the internet, on YouTube, were constantly going, you get ready shit. And I was sick of people saying that, so I learned to strike double. But for 20 years, I went, and I just lifted up with my thumb at the back of the deck. No fucker ever had a problem with that. Because for me, it's not about, I've never learned to pinky count. I've never learned anything like that. Because
it's such a strange thing, because you see a lot of the big names talking about like being a like absolute mastery, and I understand there's a certain it's great to be able to do your card sleights proficiently and to an expert level, but I think you've got to remember that is less. You have to spend time on it. You have to get good with a deck of cards, right? So the point where you can at least do the sleights without thinking. But so many people fall into this like trap of bowing down to false idols or following like this guru. You get like a lot of like self-help gurus on the internet, like that do podcasts and stuff outside of magic. I mean,
yeah.
And they'll have like a a discussion, and they'll use like quotes and scientific data and research. And there's a lot of that within magic. There's a lot of false gurus in magic that will, because they can't. It's very, very hard to market. It's very, very hard to sell the technique of just being able to be good with people, like be able to. But it's very easy to sell, market books and courses and all these different things on like absolute card wankery or mastery. Like this is like we're gonna do rabbit hole deep research into this today, and it's like, yeah, it's good, but if you'd spent like that amount of time convincing these people and putting things in place of how to get them out the bedrooms and performing or not performing, I think that's such a core thing, is that so many of the magicians that I see out there that aren't good it's because they lack socially.
You're right. Here's the thing. You talked about going on shoots with me in the past. Look, I'm not the most technical magician in the world. I guarantee you a big percentage of the people listening or watching to this podcast will piss all over me from a technical point of view. But every time I go on a shoot and I'm told to get performances, I'm going to get people fucking screaming, to the point that I've had over and over again people accuse me online of having my reactions faked on my trailers. And that's not the case because you've been on so many shoots with me. And
it's an amazing compliment to get. It's an amazing compliment. Yeah. I understand why though, because there are certain times, and I've said this to you a million times, there's certain times you're completely cack-handed, or I've watched you perform and I can see the flash, so I think there's no way they missed that or you misdirected them, and then suddenly because you've had them eaten out the palm of your hand, and you understand moments of when to entertain and add light and dark to your performances, that they fucking go mental. And I'm watching it from a technical point of view going, that was really bad, Craig. I think they're not going to react to that. And then suddenly they blow the roof off. And I'm like, well, what the fuck do I know? And that's like I said earlier, I spent so long telling myself it's got to be perfect, like fucking chastising myself, that I've missed out on the important shit.
And that's why magicians will buy tricks and never go out and perform them, because they will learn the trick and they'll keep saying to themselves, I need to get it perfect before I go and perform it. I need to get it perfect. No, the way you get it perfect is by performing it in front of people. I've got a gig tonight. It's a pickpocketing gig. I do pickpocketing. Didn't you know? Yeah, I do pickpocketing. I'm not the greatest pickpocket in the world, but I'm very good at watch deals and taking various different... Yeah. Fuck yeah. But you know what? I got good at it by getting caught over and over and over again. I was like, taking my watch. Yeah, I am. Yep. Sorry about that. Yeah, have it back. That's the only way. But magicians are scared of being caught. Like, do
you know what? I'm terrified.
My ex-business partner, a guy called Ethan, from years ago, before I even met Russell, it was Russell's dad, he was petrified about getting caught. And I saw him once in a restaurant doing a sponge ball routine. And the guy was like, oh, it's in your other hand. And it was. And he just broke character. And he's like, right, I bet, yeah. And he got all aggressive about it. Like, it was like...
What would you have done in that situation?
The same thing I do whenever I get caught. I get asked this question, what do I do if I get caught and there's no way out of it? I go, yeah, well done. Do you want a gold star? Sorry, did you think this shit was real? No. And by the way, Santa's not real and there's no tooth fairy. Shall we move on? I make a joke of it. Now, that won't work with you because we've had this conversation about you like to have this real experience for a spectator. What my performing character, and you've seen me do it enough times, is I'm just this bloke that spends time practicing this shit. I'm not going to try and pretend it's real, but we're going to have a laugh together, which that character allows me. If somebody goes,
freedom, it gives you freedom to...
That coin's in the other hand. Yeah, it is. Well done. What, did you think it was real fucking magic? Come on, get with the program. And then I'll do something else that'll completely blow them away. So I don't care. I just don't care.
That's true. I fucking love that about you. I had a similar conversation with Pete Turner in the vein of, he was on a live stream with me, and because Pete's, I think it's safe to say, Pete's the best. I'd say he's the best living mentalist, right? There isn't a better one today. There's Darren Brown, but he does stage shows that are more geared towards lay people these days. I think the best living mentalist on planet Earth, and I've said it over and over again, it's not because I'm friends with him, is Peter Turner. He's the only mentalist I've ever met that has genuinely made me question if what he's doing is real multiple times, right? Yeah. And I've seen him, and I've seen all the people that I've ever not all of them, but I've seen so many people that have called bullshit on him online, that meet him in person, and then they've gone away going, "Ha, fuck. Did someone give him all my information beforehand?" It's like, "Oh no, mate, that is welcome to the Pete Turner show." But I said to him, one of his the reason why he's a legend within the community, and people are like, "Oh my God," when he walks into a room in a convention, they're like, "Oh my God, that's Pete Turner," is because he is incredible at performing to magicians. Like, he gives it 100% when performing to magicians and mentalists. And I said to him, that's something I really struggle to do, because I know that they know what I'm doing is bullshit. And they probably know the full method, or they are working it out as I go along, which not everything Pete does, because he's only human, is a complete magician and mentalist fooler. And, if he does a 10-minute routine, there might be one or two things that blows everyone's socks off, and the rest of it is just going through the motion type magic, setting up the other stuff and padding it out. And I said, how do you sit down? Because when Pete does mentism, it's real. That's the persona he has, and oftentimes I think it fucking is. And I said to him, how do you sit there and look someone in the eye like a magician, and both of you know that you're bullshitted, and you just I'll have to go back and revisit it, but his answer was very similar to yours. And like, I just don't give a fuck, and I want them to have. And he was like, I think his answer was, I don't give a fuck, and I want them to have the best experience I can possibly give them, regardless. Plus, I think his other part to that answer was, you never know who else is watching. It could be someone that has no idea how any of this works, how any of this is done, and to them, now you are a legend. Right? It's like, oh God, what a great way of looking at it, which is essentially always give it your all. Fuck the haters, and you never know what it's going to lead to, which is a great thing. Yesterday, I was talking to Fred, and I showed him this new thing have you seen the Tobias Dostal coin where you open it and put a
Yeah, I really want one, but I can't get a hold of Toby at the moment. You little cat. Has he sent you one?
Oh, give it to me. He's coming with us to Mexico.
Well, I'd want one before fucking Mexico. Tell him to.
Let me see if I can show this. If this flashes, we'll have to cut it because it's not mine. But so a coin, and you can open it up. Sorry to everyone on Spotify, but you can turn the light on. Can you see the light there?
Mm-hmm.
Close it and then hand it out.
And
I performed this to someone, a couple of people the other day, and amazing reactions. But anyway, I showed it to Fred, and immediately I say, oh, what I love about this is this is the cool part. And I opened it up and showed him the electronics and stuff inside there. And afterwards he was like, I didn't want to say anything, but I had no clue how it was done, and you kind of spoiled it for me. And I just assumed, because it's, to us, me and you, this is a pretty, the method is exactly what you think it is, right? To anyone watching that, it's not anything, it's exactly what you think it is. I just assumed that he did too. And I kind of spoiled his experience. And I think sometimes when I perform, especially to magicians, I do the same thing where I just assume, no matter what, I always assume that I'm talking to the smartest magician there. And I never think that I'm fooling any of them.
I was demming at Penguin, obviously, at Blackpool. And one of the big things I was demming was tech deck, which is kind of like that, but with a deck instead of a coin.
Yeah.
And I was of course I wanted to dem it really quickly. I was doing a super quick, simple, ambitious card. And this magician walked over and he's like, yeah, I've got everything. I know everything. Show me what you've got. And he was there with his partner, his wife. And I did tech deck, and my presentation is, let me explain how it works. It's all to do with technology. Look. And I was doing it on his wife, and I got her to lift up the deck and cut the deck, and the circuitry was all inside. And she was like, oh my God. He then turned around to me and he went, oh, I really like that. That's a very clean, ambitious card. I wish you hadn't told my wife how it worked. I didn't. No, you did. You showed her the gimmick. You opened it up and showed her the gimmick. I'm like, no. That's the trick. And he couldn't get it. He just couldn't get it. Just couldn't get it.
Fuck. Well, it's so funny that, I even wrote in my book about how we always overestimate. I assume that I'm speaking to the smartest person in the room when I perform, but we do overestimate so often not the intellectual level of our audience. they just don't have the experience. They don't understand. They haven't seen those methods. You know, the stuff to us, which is the bread and butter, the daily bread, the boring things that we do 1,000 times and we've learned 20 years ago. And that stuff originally fooled us. They've never seen it before.
When I used to lecture, I used to do really hardcore coin magic. That used to be my lecture. My lecture used to
that's all you were known for. Was
yeah, I used to just do really hardcore coin magic. And I don't do any of that now because I realized that nobody understood what I was talking about. And it was just a waste of time for them to watch because I'd be asking questions like, so who knows what a finger palm is? And like 2 people will put their hand up. Who knows what I'm like, I'm trying to teach people how to do classic, dropping 5 coins one at a time from classic palm while simultaneously back palming another coin in the other hand. And most people that are watching me at this lecture,
every goddamn thing is like...
well, no, actually with coins I'm quite good. It's the card stuff that I flash with a lot, but the coins, no, I'm quite good at coins. But I was like, nobody's getting anything out of this. This is just magical masturbation for me. And when I went to Cardiff and that lady gave me that coin bag and said, can you do something with it? That's the first time I've put sort of coin sleights and stuff into my lecture for a long time. So I tend not to these days. I tend to go for, I try to make the lecture very, very accessible and show people stuff that's almost self-working. And even then I'll say something like, right now you need to do a brow reversal. Does anyone know how to do that? No. Okay, let me explain a brow reversal. It's like stuff that you'd think that everybody knows. And I don't know if it's because
You're an old ass.
man,
No, I mean that in the best sense. Like, to you, you've seen a brow reversal 20, 30 years ago.
maybe it is. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know, but I do see that like a lot of people that I meet at lectures, their technical skill or their knowledge of moves and sleights and so on and so forth is not as advanced as it was like 20 years ago. And I don't know if it's because we gravitate. I was speaking to Stuart Etheridge about this the other day. And he said he went to Blackpool this year and he only bought 3 things. And normally he comes back with like 5 or 6 bags worth of stuff. And he said, I think it's because I'm growing up as a magician and I'm walking around. And I'm like, I don't need that. That's really cool, but I don't need that. That's 300 quid and I'll use it once. I don't need that. I don't need that. But that I think I can see myself doing. And I think it's because when people come into magic, because there's so many tricks that people can buy, people just gravitate towards gimmicks. And hey,
I think it's almost the same as any hobby, sport, or music though. When people first start out, they think that all the latest and greatest stuff is really going to be the thing that pushes them forward in their ability, in advancing their ability and skill set. And it's true to a small degree. For example, like, you got to learn what you don't like. You have to experience the failures. You have to experience the snake oil salesman to know what to look out for in the future. But it's the same for almost anything. That the longer that you spend in that hobby and art form and sport and whatever it's going to be, the more, at least for me, and I think for most people, it's the more you strip down and you realize that there are certain absolute fundamental. Like, I went to Blackpool this year. I bought 1 thing, and I think that was 1 thing more than I bought last year. I mean, I might be an edge case because I make almost all of my magic, so I tend to not buy, because for me a magic shop is somewhere like Hobbycraft. But even still, I think like you buy a lot of magic because it's part of your review ecosystem.
not anymore. Not at the moment.
Not at the moment, no. But I would wager that if you didn't do a review channel and be so heavily involved in like helping people with their products and stuff, that if you were just doing magic gigs, you probably would buy hardly any. You'd see a trick come out, you'd know instantly if it was for you, you'd buy that and you'd keep that in rotation for a
In
good...
the 9 years that I left this community because of Red, I hardly bought anything. I bought books and that's it. And I bought the odd download, but I didn't buy any gimmicks. So there's kind of a gap in my knowledge base, because for that 9-year period, I just didn't really, I was performing more than ever before and I was reading more than ever before, but I didn't really buy any gimmicks. So I kind of missed a lot of your time at Illusionist, because that was when that was. I kind of missed all of that. So when you're saying to me, "Oh, I bought this out and it was the best," I'm like, I don't remember that. I hardly remember anything. The only thing I remember from yours and the Illusionist, really, that I remember that I got was the cohort scaff deck, which I absolutely fucking loved. That's that, and my favorite trick at the time was the lighter and the angel.
Oh, Abyss.
Fucking love that. Still do that now. But
Like that's still probably one of my favorite ever things, like top 10.
and that's just because it just popped up on my feed, but I wasn't looking for.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The longer you get in it, the more. I think the problem is not the problem. I think what it probably is that you don't know what your palette is, so you've got to kind of try everything.
Yeah.
And then realize, oh, okay, I know exactly what works for me. Who was I speaking to? I was talking to Mark Waddington, and what did he say? It was like I'd never considered before, but he said he doesn't do any tricks, and I don't want to misquote him, but it was something like he doesn't do any tricks that require that there has to be a full deck of cards, and he doesn't do any tricks that require stack. And I was like, well, why? The fucking monster tricks there. You've got some. He's like, well, because I do 18 tables a gig. Every table will have 1 or 2 cards signed, or 3. He's like, from the first moment I step into the room, my deck is already 1 card down, basically. He's like, I'm a professional gig and magician. We sat down and roughly worked out how many performances he'd done, and it's something like I've been like nearly I want to say like 30,000. We worked it out like on average how many tables, like on average like 10 to 18 tables. How many gigs he done in the last couple of years alone, and it was like literally like you, up in the multiple thousands. And he was like, and every single one of those performances, a card was used, signed, Mercury folded, whatever. He's like, I just do not. I can't. There's no way. No matter how much I love a deck with a stack or mark deck or whatever, can't be done for me because it doesn't fit. And like, I think that's one of those things that. So when you're starting out, you wouldn't know that. So you have to try, and you might realize that I only want to do a stack deck. So I'm not going. So for the rest of my routines, I won't have cards signed, or I won't have torn cards in my thing. So it's one of those things that like you you have to sample every trick out there when you first start out, because you don't know what magician you're going to end up becoming.
Yeah.
And then by that point it's a few years down the line, and you realize, well, none of the new stuff is applicable to me because all of the stuff released last year or last month involved stack. So that's out of the question for me. Or all of it involved not having a card signed, and I have to have my cards signed, so that stuff not applicable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do exactly what you mean. Yeah.
So maybe it's not about growing up, but it's about that you know what your taste buds are like, what your taste buds like.
Yeah, you find
you.
Yeah. I mean, I still, even to this day, I like doing everything. I get bored if I did one sort of thing. If I love close up, I like walk around, I like kid shows, I like illusion shows, stand up. Everything. I think I get bored if I did just one thing.
So here's the question, right? Here's 2 questions. One, you think that technical proficiency with a deck of cards is potentially not dying out, but far less prominent. But is that cognitive bias because you know so much now that when you look at anyone else that doesn't have that experience level that you do, that they look like they are uneducated or inexperienced, right? Just because you've seen it all for decades. Like I'm not as old as you. I'm catching up. I'm getting there, but I've seen a fucking. It's not much. It's very rare that I haven't seen something or even practiced something.
Yeah.
So is that just because if you were to be asked if you had been in Magic for 10 years or 3 years at this point, would it look like everyone's very technical and they're doing stuff that you don't know? So what I'm just saying is a cognitive bias. The other thing is that how much of those old card moves are dying out, and to you it's like, oh, that is obviously a brow reversal. But I watched Louis Theroux's Manosphere documentary last night, and he interviews all these, the people, the guys who follow Andrew Tate and they're into the red pill stuff and they think women are fucking dirt, and there's just really toxic subsection of the internet. But when he asked to interview them, they all said yes. And they'd never heard of him. These are all like 20-year-old guys, and that that live their lives on TikTok and things. They'd never heard of Louis Theroux, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But it's a sign of our age, right? Is that just what it is with these card slides? It's just like, yeah, a lot of those old card slides are dying out, and is it because a lot of the new wave, not new wave, but a lot of the pushed forward theory these days is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. You don't need to know 20 different ways to do the double lift. You just have to be able to do a double lift.
Yeah. There is probably that element to it as well.
Here's a question. Were people much more judgmental 10, 15, 20 years ago if you couldn't do 50 different hard card slides? Were you looked at?
I think there were. Yeah. I think there were. I'm thinking back to when we were at the session as well. When we were at the session convention this year in January.
Yeah.
Traditionally, that's where all of the hardcore shit comes out, and everyone's like blowing everyone's mind. I don't even think I saw that much of that this year. There were sessions, don't get me wrong, but I didn't see loads of hardcore sleight of hand. I don't. Like, look at Britain's Got Talent. Britain's Got Talent is a perfect indicator. Have you ever seen anyone go on Britain's Got Talent that does like super hardcore sleight? Okay, other than the manipulators, there's been some Eden people like that, but like what we would talk about close-up magic, and you see people coming down to the judge's desk doing close-up magic all the time, but it's all really simple stuff. I've never seen anyone pull up a table, stick up a couple of chairs, get a couple of the judges up there, and do some fucking hardcore shit.
Yeah, no, I'm fully. I don't know whether it's a thing where it's like we were talking about this with illusion shows. I don't. I think, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I think it's so much harder to have a magic persona these days, and to have any other persona. I think it's very hard to be a character-driven persona these days.
Okay. Yeah,
Right?
I would say that. Define character, though.
Well, like,
are you talking because there's extreme?
Anything other than just being kind of genuinely who you are.
Because my character is me with the volume turned up.
Right.
An
extension of yourself.
Yeah. I'm more sarcastic. I wisecrack more. I take the piss more. And I'm kind of, I'm more of a performer in terms of what I do, but it's still me. There's no character.
Oh, yeah, there's no character there other than.
But it is. But my character is me. It is me. But then you look at somebody like Piff the Magic Dragon, or like Claire Kentos, or Tom Crosby, the performing nerd, and you look at people like that, and you go, well, okay, that is a character.
Yeah. So, what I mean by character, I should really niche down, because I mean like the character of it's so hard to put a pin in it. But if somebody came around today and they were like, I'm going to do real magic and have the persona of a classical stage magician or a classical close-up magician, and they were young-ish, I think with the way that the world sees each other these days, they would be very quickly like dismissed or torn apart or seen through, because it's like now more than ever, there's no mystery to any celebrity out there, like any form of performer, because everyone out there is being you get access to their lives in a way which was never seen before. So like you look at like the Brad Pitts of the world, they're out there, they're doing podcasts where they're just chilling and being completely open and normal, whereas before you'd only really sort of kind of see behind that side of someone on a talk show, right? And only then it would just kind of just be like they'd still be on screen. But everything's so social media driven these days, and I think it's like you can have a comedy character. I think comedy characters are fine, like Piff and Tom Crosby in a sense, and I think that works because you're having a laugh with the audience, you're entertaining them. But if someone was to come along and try and be the new David Blaine or the new Dynamo or the new David Copperfield and really try and convey that I am going to make the Statue of Liberty disappear, I just can't see that working these days in a sense where people would actually be fucking questioning reality.
Yeah, no, I agree. There used to be, like 10 years ago, a lot more character-driven stuff like that. Like, you know, you look at Morgan and West, time-traveling Victorians.
Comedy though.
Yeah, no,
Right.
but like you don't see that these days. It's a little bit like wrestling. So I'm a wrestling fan, as you know. In the 80s, 90s, and even in the 2000s, every single wrestler had a character. Oh, okay, so he's the Undertaker. Oh, right, okay, so he's like a dead guy that comes out. He'd Doink the Clown. Okay, so Duke the Jumpster Drosy. Okay, so he's a repo man. But yeah, everyone had a character, and then at some point post 2005 that all went away and it became okay, this guy's name is John, his name is John Cena, his name is Shawn Michaels, his name is this, his name is that, and it's his name's Roman, his name's
You look at music as well. Like back in the 80s, 90s and stuff, you wouldn't bat an eyelid at a band or a certain singer like being like having like a completely wild dress sense and like character driven almost to an extent, but you know, big extravagant hair and dressing crazy. But and that still exists. Don't get me wrong, that still exists within magic, the character driven things, but it's far less prevalent, and it seems to me, at least from the outside, and I'm sure there's some edge cases that I'd be proven wrong about, but it seems that just doesn't really wash or engage as much with people anymore. It seems like now, like, the more of an everyman approach to things, the more relatable you can be, the better it works.
I always say to people, if you want to be successful as a close-up magician, let people know who you are. Share yourself on your social media, and share like who you are. You know, get people to know who you are because they're going to buy you over and above anything else.
Yeah, I think if you try and like even David Blaine, for example, is doing like pretty raw and filtered podcasts. He was on Joe Rogan just as an ordinary dude and things. I just don't think that whole like mystery, I'm a real shaman, mystery man persona thing can really work that well these days. And I'm gonna be proven wrong. There's gonna be somebody who does it very, very, very well. But
there's an exception to every rule. So, for example, you know, back to the wrestling thing, everybody is a normal guy now, or most people are a normal guy. And I know you don't watch wrestling, but there's this new person.
I watch it a little bit. Like,
he's been around in the indies for a while, but this new person on WWE called Danhausen, who's this like, he debuted walking out of a coffin with loads of, it doesn't really matter. He's like this spooky, otherworldly type character, and everyone's going crazy for him. He's sold more merch worldwide than anyone else, and he's only been in the company for a couple of weeks. I think it's because it's something different now that sort of character has become the exception and not the rule. So it can work, it absolutely can. But no, I agree with you. I think that these days the best way to go is to make it more, you know, personal.
Yeah, I just see it's very hard to, and I think that so the reason I bring all of that up is because, with that being said, it certainly changes the type of magic that works well for an audience then.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously with people's attention spans just completely dying out, people find it very hard as a rule to, like, you look at Rafferty, who just got the golden buzzer on Britain's Got Talent. Incredible, right? He's
incredible. We've talked about this. So good.
Absolute superstar, and I'm his biggest #1 fan. And what he did in his performance, I think he did like 5 tricks.
He did
5 tricks that performance, was it?
Yeah, all very, very simple.
5 tricks with very clear through lines, nothing complex, no what's it called, discerning. I can't think of the word. Incredible dexterity, or like everything was very easy to follow. But is the superstar of 20 years ago somebody who would have gone on and done one thing, and would they have done it, you know, with an extreme display of sleight of hand, or like Rafi's very much understands the modern audience at such a young age, which is got in there. Every scene of him is a different snapshot. When he's down here, and when he's up there, when he's doing this, when he's got this, when he's on the piano, when there's music. It's like boom, 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 to keep that attention span going and to capture the audience. I'd wager that if he came on like the international man of mystery and he was going to show you a big card flourish, I just don't think that would.
No.
And obviously, it works with Shin Lim, edge cases and everything. And even then, he's like, that's still 10 years ago. So yeah, I don't know, man. I wonder like if and it's almost like there's always going to be that new 1 or 2 new card moves every year that are really exceptionally creative and never been done before. But and especially as a creator, I hazard saying this, but how fucking far did we push card creativity and card technique before, how much is there left to discover that's really going to change the art form? And have we gone to that point of like absolute the depths of and there's still always going to be more, but have we gone to the depths of exploration? We've seen how far, almost never to the end of the rainbow, but we've seen how far it can go within reason. We've seen how technical and crazy card mechanics can be, and then we've had decades to look at it with that understanding and that knowledge base and go, right, that's where it can go, that's how good you can get, that's how difficult it can be, but this is what we actually need. Does that make sense? We've had like cardistry, right? They pushed card mechanics to the fucking extremes.
Yeah.
And obviously there's more to explore, but is it like they've, is it like Pareto, like 80-20, like they've got, that's not really the right thing, but like, is it diminishing returns at this point? How much further can we explore? And don't get me wrong, we have to. We constantly got to keep searching to how far we can push the boundaries, otherwise the art form dies.
But maybe that's why we've switched more towards gimmicks. A lot of the innovation that's happening in card magic these days is gimmicks, or there's this brand new way to gimmick this card, or I've created this specially printed gaff, or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's because it's harder to come up with the card moves. It's harder to come up with stuff like that. So, which is why we're seeing a lot of gimmicks coming out these days.
Yeah, I think there's a beauty to gimmicks, and I know that I know the purists out there will completely disagree with this. And I don't give a fuck. Yeah, what were we saying? Diminishing returns.
Come bought me a coffee.
Oh, he calls you daddy too, so I love that.
Yes. Yeah, no, you were talking about, we were talking about gimmicks and people gravitate. There's a beauty in gimmicks. You said you don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, basically the thing about gimmicks is that yes, it in one sense it's restrictive and it's easy to do. On the flip side, well, I always say this about gimmicks. Gimmicks can open up a level of experience if it's used in the right context at the right time that purism absolutely cannot and never will be able to achieve. Right. So at the right time, used in the right way, a gimmick will get you out of the stratosphere where an effect with sleight of hand will never be able to. In the most basic sense, if you did something super slow motion and they seen the magic happen and it was done well, so it was believable, that can't be replicated. It oftentimes could not be replicated from a purist point of view. So a gimmick can be a nuclear warhead if used precisely at the right place at the right time. It can just mean that there is no explanation, right? And I'll die on that hill. Not always, right? And sometimes there's a lot of unnecessary gimmicks being made. But aside from that, and I think, by the way, the people that say they never use gimmicks, they're only harming their audience by there'll be something that they do where a gimmick is a better choice for them.
Too fucking right. I love gimmicks.
Oh yeah, and using at the right time is the best. But there'll be some people that will do their audiences a disservice out of arrogance and pig-headedness, and that's okay, because for those magicians, there'll be people like me and you who know when the right place to use the gimmick is, and we get to clean up. But saying all that, gimmicks can do one thing for you, which is they allow you to be in the moment and perform if used in the right context. So instead of worrying or being, I don't know, I'm all about these days being present and switched on and engaged. For example, here's one way of looking at a gimmick. I use a web app for my Eddie Carly number, right? So I have this like Holy Grail style ACAN where and if you watch the performance, they name a card, they name any number. I never touch the deck. They've shuffled the deck, and it's there. I did it at the session convention, did it at the Magic Circle. It's literally one of my walk around pieces.
Great. Brilliant trick.
Thanks, man. And I don't need the web app, right? But I do need to do a bit of mental calculations. But still, the web app takes care of that for me, essentially. Now, the purists out there saying, why don't you do it mentally? And there's a certain element of the trick where I don't. Big part of the trick is I don't fucking touch that deck. And I say it's because I'm privileged enough to see the best performers in the world do the best ACANs in the world. And unless you're the top 0.001%, every time that card and number gets named and they need to do the mental calculations, there is 5 to 10 seconds where that performer is mentally out of the room. Their eyes glaze over, they go into a zombie-like state, or they use stock lines, and then they're back in the room. And you can just always feel the disengage. For me, it was much more important to be able to be completely there, completely present, and then be able to say, if you want to change your mind, go ahead and fucking do it. And then not have to go through that same process again. And then there's another long talk about the hands-off element of the effect. Because when everyone thinks you're going to do something in other routines, you definitely do something. Whereas the whole theory of Doc's power is that the moment when everyone thinks you're going to be guilty of something, that moment happened 10 minutes ago. And then, whatever. So in that case of the ACAM, the gimmick is the web app, right? Doing the work for me. And it infinitely allows the performance to be, and for anyone doing that version of the effect, it infinitely allows you to be a better performer and have a better interaction with your audience. And to me, no matter what any purist says, that will always be the better option than having to zone out.
Yeah.
And gone.
Yeah. Well, I always say that, like with coin magic, I've had people turn around to me and go, oh, why do you use gimmicks? Why do you use flippers? Why do you use shells? Why do you use flip coins? Whatever. Why do you use gimmicks when you do coin magic? You should be pure. You should just do regular coins. Now, look, I can do a million tricks with just regular coins, but my attitude is when I'm performing, and don't forget, it's a slightly different situation because when I'm performing, I'm paid to perform. Yeah. I owe it to my audience to do the best possible trick that I can do. I have to do the best possible version of that trick that I can do. Now, if that best possible version is just 4 regular coins, then so be it. But if a gimmick will allow me to make it even 10% better, if it will allow me to make it cleaner, if the use of a flipper coin and the use of a shell is going to allow the moment of magic to be more impactful, then you better fucking believe I'm going to use a gimmick, because I don't care. My job is to present the best possible magic that I can present. And more often than not, the gimmick is going to allow me to do that way more than sleight of hand and magical masturbation.
It's true. Look at somebody who really completely understood this and why they're one of the absolute all-time greats, Grandmaster Magic, is David Blaine. People laughed when he first came on the scene and was doing the bite-out coin. Right?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, they were laughing. Yeah.
A couple of quid. He understood that those opinions were absolute dog shit opinions, because he was out there on the streets doing that magic, borrowing it's more about using it in the right context at the right time.
Yep.
Those purists that say he shouldn't have been doing the bite-out coin, well, they may not understand that he was, to the audience, he was using their coin. There was no dispute he was using their coin. Therefore, it was real. I don't know. It's so hard to argue or play chess with a pigeon sometimes. But you couldn't replicate that effect without a gimmick. And to those people, they had an amazing experience. And people remember it forever. Even lay people talk about that. But like it's like I think the problem is as well that a lot of the best gimmicks are learned on day one. And then we think we're better than them because we learned them. We were given access to those secrets so early on that we think that if we got given the access to that secret so quickly, then it's not a good secret. The good secrets come later. But you look at a coin unique or a 10, like for in the UK, it's a lock-in 10 pence 2-piece or a copper silver coin. So so for me, right, that one of the effects I do is I load I have a 10 pence 2p coin, lock-in coin that can be fully examined. I load the 10 pence under a spectator's watch, and I'll very openly, without a watch on my hand, I say, I'll put 2 coins here, I'm going to close my fist. Which one shall we use? And I can do everything completely out, extended, short sleeves, nowhere to hide. It doesn't matter. I equivoke the coin, and then I open my hand. There's just the 2p left. They can take it out. It's one-handed. They can examine that coin, and then I say, "Time is money." And they look under their watch. The 10 pence is there. It's complete. It's a complete fucking miracle. There is no explanation on this earth for that trick because they get to examine the coin. So it can't go anywhere. There is no fucking explanation. There's 2 coins in my hand. They can grab me by the wrist if they want to. They can put me under a microscope. I close my hand around the 2 coins. They name one. I open it. It's gone. They can take it out of my hand. That's a fucking miracle on its own. And then it's under their watch, so it cleans it up. That could not be achieved in that way, in that open and that cleanly without a gimmick.
Not a chance.
You could do a false transfer of 2 coins and whatever, or shuttle, whatever. There's a million different ways you could do it with sleight of hand, but to have the 2 coins in full view, everyone burning my hands, closed fist, open fist, one's gone, it's under their watch. That couldn't be done that cleanly. I wish it could be, and I hope there is. I could try and do it so that I arm the 10 pence and it goes onto my wrist, but then I couldn't do it surrounded, completely 100% surrounded. There's no way that could be done that cleanly that we know of at the moment, because we are always in that pursuit of extraordinary. But there's no way to be done that cleanly without a gimmick. And I would not choose, out of pig ignorance and arrogance, to do it without a gimmick if I had the choice of either, purely because I was like, I'm a purist. I don't use gimmicks. I'm too good for gimmicks. Well, yeah, your audiences ain't getting the same fucking experience they are with me, sunshine.
Yep.
And I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
I just feel bad for their audiences.
I agree. Completely.
If they had the option to do it. I'm not saying...
Here's the thing. I think that modern creators understand this. Like, think about who are the greatest creators in the world at the moment, right now, as it stands, and how many of them rely purely on sleight of hand.
Yeah.
If we went back even 10, 15 years, we could make a massive list of people that have made a reputation for themselves just bringing out bodies of work using sleight of hand and sleight of hand and sleight of hand and sleight of hand.
Yeah.
These days,
you look at the greatest card guys in the minute, like Danny Diortes, Juan Tamariz and stuff. Spoiler alert: they also use gimmicks.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
you can literally buy their products with gimmicks in them. I've seen them, some of them.
Yep, exactly.
And I always laugh. I've literally, I think even recently, I had a conversation with someone, and they were a purist, which is okay. I don't mind if you're a purist, but don't tell me that gimmicks are bad. I want to just clear that up. I don't mind if you're completely a purist and you're like, look, I just use a deck of cards and that's it. Gimmicks are great, but I just choose not to use them. That's fine. I'm only on about the people that think gimmicks are stupid and have no place in Magic, because that's a level of ignorance I could only dream of achieving. But I was having a conversation, and the person used some examples of those magicians as, they don't ever use gimmicks, and that's why they're the greatest. And I was like, oh fuck, yo. Spoiler alert, they fucking do. And it was a beautiful mic drop moment. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think we're it's the term gilding the lily or beating a dead horse. I think most people, I'm already talking to the minority of people who don't have a fucking clue. But whatever. Gimmicks are cool.
Gimmicks are cool. Yeah, they really are. I love gimmicks. I can't make them for shit. Like, I don't know how you do it. You sit there with a crafting table like you're in a little fucking Minecraft world with some fucking an X-Acto knife and a few playing cards. You'll turn up a fucking miracle. I can't do that shit. That's beyond my ability. If I just took out, like, put it this way, I'm one of the things I'm filming over in America is a certain project that people have been waiting for a long while, right? I think
one that you posted about on Instagram last night. You
Okay.
could type all the deck and everything in.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So that one. Yeah. As you know,
Gaff deck.
yeah, the gaff deck. As you know, there's a few cards in there that require, not a lot, but there's a few cards in there that require a little bit of cutting to do.
Yeah.
Ryland, fucking sit there, take these cards, do this shit. I'm not fucking doing it. You do it. So I can't be asked with this shit.
And the idea is you'd use one of those gimmicks in a performance or two. You would,
Yeah.
pick
You don't want to use the whole deck. Yeah.
No, and nor should you, because then you will be seen as like a guy who just says, do you know one thing I just need to do is get out of my own head about magic? I was talking to Fred about this, but not in this exact phrasing, but I need to just remember that magic doesn't have to be so serious. Magic is just fucking cool. Just cool. It's
cool,
got maybe people see it as cool and not be such an arsehole in my own head. Like I preach all this shit, and in my own head, I'm a complete like militant, fucking perfectionist, purist. You know what I mean? I can preach it. I can talk the talk, but I can't walk the walk. Is the problem, Craig? I just need to remember. Some people just think magic's fucking cool. Most people just think it's cool. Don't matter if it's not real. Don't care if it's real or blurred. Not so much real. It's not blurred. I like the idea of being ambiguous. I like that. I don't mind that at all. And if someone's like, "Yo, I want to know how that works," because they're fascinated in the mechanics of it, I'll often tell them, because those people end up becoming amateur magicians.
Yeah.
So I'm not an idiot, but I do remember sometimes magic's just cool. It's just a bit different, and it's just fun.
It is.
It's
It is.
fun. You don't
It
have side.
Yeah, just have fun with it. Have fun with it.
It is. I just need to start. I say like magic is fun. Cardistry's dead. Magic is fun.
You know, the thing that I struggle presenting magic in any other way other than this is really fucking cool. And I think people buy my enthusiasm. The hardest job I ever had when I was trying to get the performances for Evoke, because I was there trying to make people cry. I was like, let's get in touch with your feeling. It was just not me. I remember getting...
Great. Remove the index finger. It's up to your knuckle. No % here.
Let's get in touch with your childhood. Let's think about... Can you think about a harrowing moment in your brain?
Do that. It was so funny trying to watch you. I remember, wasn't there one person you were like, this is a childhood memory or something?
Yeah, remember, I made her cry. She was crying. I had a girl crying on the trailer. And I couldn't get the right pitch. Like, that's the only trailer I've done for Murphy's where Javier had to do the voiceover. I couldn't do it because I couldn't do the right level of smoldering mentalism intensity. I was like, hey, my name's Craig Petty and this is Evoke. Let me tell you about Evoke. It's like, that just doesn't fucking fit with this project. He had to get Javier to come in and be all moody and serious, which was cool. Talking about all of that shit, do you want to have a quick look at some new releases? We haven't done that in a couple of weeks.
Could do.
I'm so glad you're excited about that, man. That's it's your level of enthusiasm that really kind of pushed this to the next level when it comes to
No, we just got back from Blackpool.
Yeah, true. True. Right, okay. By the way, you'll be glad to know that for the last month, Ted Karmolowicz has been #1 on Penguin Magic. I've been #2. He kicked me off for about a month and a half, maybe even 2 months. But I'm back on top where I belong, and Ted Karmolowicz is down at #4. Fuck you, pervert.
You shouldn't even be fucking on there now.
Yeah, but it's based on customer sales. It's people buying the thing.
No, but they should not. They should not sell it.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Right. What have we got? Have you seen anything new? I mean,
Sorry, I'm just paying an invoice for more.
do that. Okay. So we've got...
Oh, we haven't talked about the fucking convention.
Oh, fuck me. So first of all, thank you
for the convention.
Well, we've been blabbering on about gimmicks and David Copperfield for the best part of fucking an hour and a half. The Magic Convention. Yes, sorry, I was just about looking for... but it's amazing. Everything's working brilliantly. We haven't quite finalized the I've been reaching out to dealers. I've got 4 or 5 dealers already that are signed up. If you are a dealer and you're listening to this, I know Ian Bailey has messaged me. I need to get back to Ian. I'd love to have Ian as part of the convention. I think that would be amazing. We're going to be announcing everything soon. Tickets are going really well. I mean, I can't believe how well. I've got a little spreadsheet. We're doing great.
How many have sold? How many have sold?
Like about 100 already in a week.
Holy shit.
Haven't even properly all we do.
I wasn't expecting that many to be sold.
All we've done is literally just talk about it on last week's podcast.
I've got a shitty little PayPal link.
Shitty little PayPal link, which then goes onto a spreadsheet. And we are going to get more organized with this. Unfortunately, last week I was doing a lot of legal work with I was full on deep into evidence gathering, so I couldn't give it my all. But now that's all completely behind me. I'm 100% all on this, as is Lloyd. You can see the intensity in his eyes if you're watching this on YouTube. Look at the level of like you're just full on 100%. You're in the room with me right now, aren't you, mate? You're just focused intently on this podcast.
Sorry, I'm just sending a funny gift to my uncle. What'd you say?
That doesn't matter. Not important. So yeah, it's going well. About 100 tickets have already sold, which is great. We can only realistically, I think, have about 300, maybe 250. I need to check with venue. It depends on how we have the everything laid out. But it's going.
Yeah, what is the? I'm putting a good question. What is the capacity of the venue?
Well, I'm going to find out all of that today when I've got some papers to sign for them, so I need to sign those papers. But
if it is that few, then we've sold out a third of our
in a week with a shitty PayPal link and a one mention on the podcast. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the greatest. Oh, here's a question that's come up on my Q&A. There's people that want to come with families. If we get tickets for their families, is the whole, because we said last week that the gala show in the evening is most definitely not family friendly.
100%.
So is the daytime stuff family friendly? We've had people say, can they come during the day and then they fuck off and do something? Well,
look, it's the Magic Podcast Convention. There are going to be a few F-bombs, a few cunt bombs, and some coarse words. So there's going to be a little bit of bad language and probably some jokes about Ted Karmolovich absolutely plowing his fat cock into a tiny child. That's going to happen. I mean, that did happen with Ted Karmolovich, but those jokes are going to be, they are going to be there. So I'm not going to say this. I think parents need to use their parental discretion. This is not going to be a good convention like the Session or Blackpool. This is going to be the Magic Podcast Convention. It's not going to be complete. It's not going to be the Wild Wild West. It's not going to be Epstein Island. But I think our people are people that can have a laugh and not take life too seriously, and just love to have fun. So, not that the other conventions don't have that. What I'm saying is that it's not going to be probably as professional as every other convention, although the lecturers are fucking amazing. We're going to do our best to make it.
I think next week we announce the first lecturer.
Yes. Yeah.
We announce next week on the podcast, we're going to announce the first lecturer.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So I think just parental discretion is probably not going to be like, I can't imagine any of the lecturers really making any dark jokes like that. The worst person to do it would probably be me and you, and that would be in the live filming of the podcast and then evening on the Sunday. But at the bar, and the hangout spots, there'll probably be some coarse language. Mind you, there wasn't really that much at the Magic Convention meetup, the Magic Podcast meetup.
No, there was a bit, but not that much.
We're not going to kick anyone out for a dirty joke or a controversial opinion on magic. Like, obviously, we don't want people there who are just like crazy, having crazy political agendas and shit. But generally, like, funny or controversial magic opinions are not going to be frowned upon, and you're not going to be chastised or ostracized for it. But generally, it wasn't really like that, to be honest with you. At the moment, in fact, I can't even actually think of anyone saying anything other than just normal stuff.
Yeah.
So, but don't if you're gonna bring your kid and you do hear a blue joke,
don't moan about it.
Don't be like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Like, just fuck off.
Yeah. Like, Ryland will be there, probably. But like, he'll be the one doing the blue jokes most of the time. That kid's filthy. So
oh yeah. Oh god.
Are you thinking back to some of the jokes he told you now?
No, he's a little rascal, he is. Little rascal. That little rascal, right? But yeah, I think just like, if your kid has just use your own parental discretion. Everyone's welcome, but no one's gonna get booted out if you are offended by someone else's magic industry opinion or humor. Of course, if someone's out there just being an absolute wanker, they're gone. Like
Yeah.
if someone's being like a political freak or they're just like being racist or homophobic, like that's not fucking welcome at all. You're immediately gone. But if it's if it's about magic and you've got a controversial opinion like cardistry is shit or something,
You can't be racist. What about Wales? That's all right, isn't it? Because that's not even a race. It's just a cesspool.
wow, okay, wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I was listening to Jimmy Carr the other day, just while I was doing some work.
You normally watch Jimmy Savile.
Well, yeah, occasionally. But I was like watching Jimmy Carr, and he had this great joke. He's like every year, every week, not every day, sorry, every day, a section of the Brazilian rainforest the size of Wales is destroyed. Why is it never Wales?
You know, ironically, he said a joke that always makes me think of you, and it is, how'd you stop a dog from humping your leg? And the punchline is, you pick it up and suck its dick. And the reason that makes me think of you is because you look like a pug that's missing a few chromosomes that's been kicked to fucking death. Do you know? Like that's the little squashed face. Yeah. So I apologize to the dog race out there.
I'll have you know that there's many people that look at me and think of
Yo,
me.
check this out. I don't know if you can see this, but there's hailstones come out down like with there. How do I zoom in?
Yeah, I can see it, dude. I can see it.
That's insane.
Reason number 372 to not live in Wales: extreme weather.
Ooh, crazy. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
Wait, let me turn voice isolation off. Hear that?
A little bit, yeah.
It's got actually as soon as I turn it off, it stop being as heavy. I'm gonna go to the shop after this.
That's insane.
Bang, happening now.
That
Yeah. So everyone's welcome. But don't be a Karen. No offense to Karens. Don't have the I want to speak to the manager opinion. But obviously, they'll normal like if you're a racist, homophobic piece of shit, fucking don't come.
Yep.
But if you like the Magic Podcast and if you the best way to look at it is this: if you think your kid can listen to the Magic Podcast, they can come to the convention.
Great. Perfect. That's actually a really good rule of thumb. And also, tickets are going fast. That's not a thing. I can't believe they're 50 quid for 2 days. Tickets are going fast.
What's the website link again?
I don't know. We'll put it in the description down below. It'll go to
podcast.
I can't remember.
.co.
Michael is working on it today because
the convention ticket is literally the shit. No offense to Michael, it's the shittest button. I can't believe there is boys. It's literally just a block text button. But yeah, go to the magicpodcast.co.
He's working. Yeah, he's working on it today. Basically, we threw something up very quickly.
Huh? He's got Ryland levitating. Is that the Oh God, I'm such a design.
We threw something up very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I realized an hour before it went up, we didn't even have a button. So he threw something up very quickly. But today he's working on something. It's going to look very sexy by Monday.
Yeah, baby. Just have literally have AI design the UX for him because it'll come out like all singing and.
Yeah, no, we'll make it look sexy. I promise. But
the magicpodcast.co. Actually, we should put that as a text, as a title on screen throughout the entirety of this recording.
Yep.
Tickets to the Magic Podcast Convention. Put the dates. Yeah, put it as a banner at the bottom for the whole thing.
I'll get Michael to do that.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael.
And then we'll, the website will be properly up and running by Monday. But it's there to buy tickets, and we'll be reaching out to everybody next week with your ticket number. We're just going through everything at the moment. So,
but we have all your emails anyway, so just remember the email you paid with.
Yep, absolutely. But we are sending out ticket numbers and everything, so we've got an automated thing to do that. But yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Next week we will announce the first lecture. I will be live from Murphy's doing the podcast next week, live from California. So,
wow, that'll be like what more times in Cali now? Where's my?
I guess we normally film these in the morning, which means I'll probably be filming it quite late at night.
So it's in the morning now, which means you'd have to start at 2 a.m. for the normal time, or we could push it back. But you'll be filming in the day then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't care.
I'll have to try and do it late at night. Like if I do it like 9 p.m.
But I might do it late at night. I'm a night owl. You know that. I'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
We'll get it done. We're not going to miss one. But yeah, did you want to talk about products? I mean, we've been going for about 2 hours now, and I know you've got shit.
Mate.
Huh?
Not asked, mate. Not bothered.
Not bothered. Not bothered at all.
No.
To be honest, mate,
Well, the reason why is because nothing is exciting me that I can think.
nothing. I'm looking at the list, and there's nothing fucking exciting coming out at the moment.
What's it called? The only thing that's fucking awesome that I know is coming out is the Noble Virtues with Mark Bennett.
Mark just sent me one of those. I've had one arrive yesterday. And it's
like Mark Bennett and Matthew Wright. It's the Noble Virtues thing. It's the one thing that I think is fucking awesome. I think it's launching like this week. It's the only thing that's really on my radar.
He sent me one, which is really, really, really nice. I'm planning on looking at it tonight. Outside of that, there's not really anything of any excitement. I think it's the post-Blackpool lull. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like everything got exciting for Blackpool, and now,
yeah, I'm sure there is some new stuff. It's just I haven't kept my eye on the ball this week, at all with it. So if there if there is anything good, maybe people can email them to your email address.
Yeah. Let us know if there's something you want us to promote, and we'll try and do some listeners' questions for next week as well. So if you've got
we have a couple off Tyler Lunsford.
Do you want to take one of those before we finish, or should we wrap this up? I know you've got a thing.
Fuck him.
Okay, we'll do it next week. We'll do a load of listeners' questions next week. So Lloyd's got to fuck off. I've got to prepare to go to California. I've got to make sure I've got all these tricks in place. And I've got a gig tonight. I'm going to be picking pockets. So it's time for you lot to fuck off. We'll be back next week. Pick your tickets up for the convention if you haven't already done so. The link will be in the description down below.
It's going to be on the screen the entire time.
It's going to be on the screen the entire time, and it's also going to be in the description. Also, don't forget to don't fuck kids. That's the most important thing. Over and above anything else, even if you don't come to the convention, just remember not to fuck kids. And wrap it up, Lloyd.
Have a shit week, you cunts.
That's what he said. Exactly. Have a shit week, you cunts. Don't fuck kids. Buy your tickets to the convention. We'll see you next week live from California and Wales. It's going to be a truly global show. Until then, off you fuck.
Cunts all over the world.
We apologize for disrupting your normal daily schedule. You may now relax, tuck your deck back in, and resume your regular day-to-day life. Remember to subscribe to be notified the moment each new episode goes live every Wednesday. And join our Facebook group to continue the conversation. The link is in the description to this podcast. Thank you for listening to The Magic Podcast.